Oh, yeah, right. Perfect. Thank you, Milan. So I propose to start the meeting, and the first item in the agenda was about templates to report bugs for SDBlib. Milan, can you go ahead?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll share my screen. Okay, you see my screen with the SDLib page?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So a few months ago, we introduced forms for bug reports and different templates for opening issues. A few days ago, Andre proposed that we either simplify it or remove it. I first want to just give you kind of what it looks like so you know what we're talking about. So say you're trying to work with SDLib, maybe it doesn't build, there's some other kind of bug, you want to open a bug report. So you go to issues, you want to open a new issue. So most people know how to do that, but now you have this, rather than taking you straight to the freeform issue, you have this selection of 6 things. First one is bug report, something's not working. Okay, get started link is, at least for me, in my experience, the screen is kind of wide. This is a bit far. On the right, that was kind of easy to miss for me when I first saw it. Then there's feature proposal, suggestion for new functionality, next to the lib. Freeform. So freeform is actually the generic issue without any kind of decoration that everybody's used to in GitHub. And then there are 3 links, one to the SDLib discussion board. That's this discussions, different channel of what issues. Link to the Fortran link discourse and mailing list. So these are supposed to be all kind of for discussion. Maybe this one is more specific to SDLib. Discourse is if you want to have some more general discussion, and okay, mailing list if you want to email. But now you have to click again to open a bug report. And now you have this form. So you have a title, you have a description here. It's marked as a mandatory field. That's fine, I think. Actually, no, freeform issues in GitHub make that optional as well. Expected behavior, also mandatory field. So if, for example, SDLib is not building, the obvious answer is it should build. So sometimes you may want to just omit that, but right now you can't. It would force you to fill it out. Then you need to get the version of SDLib. So currently that's getting the current commit hash that you're working with, platform architecture, and any additional information. This one is the only field that's optional. So we started having this a few months ago. Sebastian implemented. I approved it. Looked good. Andre, a few days ago, suggested that this was pretty difficult to fill out, especially in a short time. And this one was kind of basically for SDLib wasn't building on a M1 Mac. The obvious answer is this should build, but unfortunately he had to fill this out with just junk to satisfy the form to make it happy. So then I opened this issue, and there's quite a long discussion in here about what to do with this. Do we want to completely remove this, or do we want to simplify it? Andre suggests completely removing it, and the argument is, well, we want to make this as easy as possible for anybody to open an issue, and there are a few friction points that we've introduced in these forms. And their purpose is to make life a little bit easier for maintainers, for somebody who's going to triage the issue, try to reproduce the issue. But it has this potentially adverse effect that somebody just gets frustrated with it midway through the issue and goes away. That can certainly happen. That has happened to me with at least several other issues where the forms were really long and really tedious. This one I find personally not too tedious. I think it's on the simpler end as far as templates I've seen. But I also, in reviewing this, I saw opportunities to simplify it. So maybe let's go back to review this, selection. So there are a few seemingly redundant choices that could maybe be bundled together. Also, one thing that Andre pointed out is like it wasn't clear that freeform is an option or that it was even an encouraged choice because it's kind of down the list. You can easily miss it. Perhaps we can make this easier by pushing freeform to the top. And we have some redundancy here regarding the links for discussion. For example, Fortran mailing list is pretty inactive. There isn't much traffic there. Most general discussion is on discourse. And there's also a lot of overlap between SCD discussion board in terms of format and the issues themselves. I often want to go look for some issues, some conversations that are right there. And I can't find any issues, but I forgot that, discussions also exist. So then when I went there later, I could find it there. So that confused things a little bit for me. And overall, back to this, discussion on what to do about this. A few of us did suggest to keep it, to keep the bug report, but to simplify it. I think there is overall agreement that it can and probably should be simplified. But I would also like to get input from everybody here. What do you think? Do you think it's likely that we are losing some issues because of this bug report form? Perhaps it's just, it's too early to have a bug report form like this. And until we have too many to handle, basically, until we have an actual problem, then we can put some more burden on the issue holder to fill out the form structured. I hope I summarized this well enough, and if at this point I would let anybody who wants to say something, basically I just like to hear from everybody. What do you think, and how would you like to go forward with this? Should we completely remove the bug report form? Should we simplify it? What do you think?
So my first criticism is just that I think the order is a little out of order, the order of the fields in the form. So I think there's a little bit of room for improvement on the form, of course, but I've also leaned towards using templates instead of forms, which is basically, here's the format we'd like you to use, but it's basically just, it pre-fills in a free form box. So that might be an option as well, right? So if somebody's submitting a bug report, if they just want to do something quick and they accidentally click the bug report, they can at least just delete the whole thing and just submit the plain issue. But
Brad,
so that's my thought.
Can you remind me, is the template where you have, it's basically a freeform issue, but you have kind of in comments suggested text? This
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, got it.
Yeah, suggested headers. Go ahead, Arjan.
Can you hear me?
Or Martin.
Yeah, I would also suggest to keep it.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, so I would also suggest to keep it, maybe simplify it a little bit, but if you don't have a format, people, I don't know, can write incredibly stupid bug reports like it is not working, and then you need to ask. So I would suggest to guide the submitters a little bit. One thing like freeform, I mean, initially I thought I read free format, So maybe we should call it other or general. I don't know what is the best description, but to me it was not immediately clear. Yeah, that's it.
Arjan?
Thanks, Martin. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I agree, and granted, I don't think we actually had a big problem so far with that. Mostly because it's a young project. There aren't that many new issues, that many bug reports, and when there are, people have been actually quite literate about it, about providing all the info. And that's just my perspective. Maybe I haven't seen all the issues, and others have done considerably more work on triaging issues. Yeah, so that's I agree that's a thing. It's just maybe too early, and I think that's also Andre's main point that we're too young for project to sort of put the more burden on the user. Rocket asks, is there a reason it's enabled? Yeah, I believe. Like problems to address for future proposal to a separate place. Is that correct, Sebastian?
Sorry, you dropped out. We couldn't hear this part.
Yeah, so if I understand, the main reason discussions is to have a separate place for general discussions that are not necessarily specific problems.
Yes, exactly. So the reason for enabling discussion is it was a kind of new feature GitHub proposed to get those long-going discussions in the issues moved to some place else, which is more suitable for having an open-ended discussion rather than this issue format which gets littered with all those events. It turns out that the discussions basically suffer from the same problem as issues, that GitHub automatically will collapse long discussions, and then you have to manually expand everything to see what's going on. So for those kinds of discussions, it seems like the discourse is actually the better place to go.
Yeah, and I was actually thinking that, if we have forms for like the PRs and other things, right? I mean, for the issues, then it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to allow people to open any kind of discussion thread and put their questions there. And also because the discussions suffer from the fact that they have the upvote mechanism, which doesn't really help very much in these sort of projects, I would say.
Can you hear me?
Andre? Yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead, Andre.
So my comment is that the reason I started this discussion is because when I opened up the issue, I almost gave up. It was like not letting me submit it, and I put everything I had, and I almost gave up, but I did not give up because I wanted to give that feedback. But it kind of, a lot of times I have just a few minutes. I have something doesn't work, and I can just let it go and work on my actual stuff I have to work on. But I try to spend, the 30 seconds to a minute to actually report the bug because it's extremely useful for projects to get these bug reports. But if it's, if the form, like I'll give you an example that I would recommend we definitely don't go. That's a spec. Every time I report a bug there, it's such an ordeal that I have to fill out like 5 forms and it doesn't allow me to submit it. And I just kind of don't report bugs because I just don't have the time to do that. And I think when our project is so young, we really should encourage, kind of just lower the barrier completely. I like Brett's suggestion to just have only blank issues. You click on new issue and it creates an empty issue, but it pre-fills it for you. And what we should do is add a comment there saying, if this is a discussion, go to discourse or the GitHub issue GitHub discussion or discourse. If it's an issue, here's the issue, and here is an example, like, fill out your platform or whatever else we need, version, but also put there, but you don't have to follow it. Just, submit us your issue that you have and do your best. And if we do that, I think that would fix everything.
Yeah, I like the suggestion of a template rather than a form. And I would also like a suggestion of how to get the actual version of STDlib, because the example we saw was quite threatening. This long MD5 list of characters or whatever it is. So a suggestion of how to get it would be much better, I think.
Somewhere, I don't know if it was in the form itself, but there is somewhere a suggestion on how to, not a suggestion, but an instruction on how to do it. And it's not here, but I saw it maybe in the, it could be in the issue template file itself. Sebastian, do you remember?
Yeah, for standard lib, we created those templates before we actually had a version. So the only thing that was reasonable to put in there was like a hash, because this was the only thing, only way to version standard lib at this point, and to make somebody aware which version you're using. Now that we actually have a version, I think we can just put as example 0.10 in there. This might be easier this way.
I think it will be.
So definitely we should update them.
So I wanted to mention something that Andre had said, that this is still a young project, which I partly agree with, and maybe that's true, and we don't need to worry too much about this yet. But this is also kind of aimed at beginners as a way for beginners to access existing functionality that isn't necessarily in the standard. So at some point, we are going to get a lot of beginner programmers who are using STDlib, and if they want to submit an issue, it will be useful to have at least some guidelines, or some sort of information that they're presented with, of like, these are the kinds of things we'd like to know so we can better help you.
Yeah, then most likely a template with the same structure as this form could be useful. And if people want to remove the template because they took it by inadvertence, they can just remove the text and complete with that text in the free form. But at least there would be a guideline there.
Yeah, if I may suggest with the template, I think a good idea is to word it in a way such to kind of say, if you don't know what to do, follow this template and fill it out, and there will be a good bug report. And then we can say, but you're welcome. But if you know what you are doing or something like that, you're welcome to just do a fresh kind of issue that you don't have to follow the template. But if we can figure out a wording to show that for newcomers who've never reported a bug, to just kind of guide them and say, hey, if this is your first time reporting a bug, just follow the template and fill out the things, and that will look good. And then for everybody else, we can also encourage them to not follow it if they don't want to, or something like that. That might kind of give us what we want.
I'd be happy to take a crack at submitting a new template and see what you guys think.
Yes, one thing I don't like about the GitHub templates, because there, if you want to put in some information for the user, you have to put it in an HTML comment. And if you are new to GitHub and want to submit an issue, then there's this strange comment, and maybe this is even a multi-line comment. If you write something there, it doesn't appear in the preview. And then there's everything littered with these comments, or you put it in as text, and then it will even appear in the preview. And this is kind of a bit, and then you can change it. That's where I thought having some text fields and some where you can put in the information without it interfering with the user actually putting in some content is easier. And on the other hand, if you only have one template which should fit all, like a bug report and a feature request and maybe a blank template for everyone, then this might be getting a very long template. And for users who know what they're doing, every time they open a new template, they have to delete everything. So I'm not sure if we can get away with just one.
No, I think you should have multiple templates as you have multiple reports, one for each. Objective.
Yeah, I totally agree with Sebastian. I mean, have you ever submitted something to Conda? It's really annoying, this clutter that you get. And then you have these stupid tick boxes, which are even mutually exclusive. So you have to remove part of the stupid boxes. So I don't know, Andre, if you really want to get pissed, submit the bug report there, and then you know how not to do it.
Yeah, I don't like the Conda template. I've done plenty of Conda, although I do like it better than the spec form. So the Conda template is 1,000 times better than the spec form, because I still report Conda bugs and open pull requests. But yes, it's annoying that you have to remove like the checkbox, and it's just kind of confusing. But I'm still hoping there is a way to do it in some way that's not annoying.
Yeah, you want it short, simple, to the point of like, here's the handful of pieces of information that we'd like, and get out of the way. That's what you want from the template. Yeah, you don't want anything complicated. You don't want to have them jump through lots of hoops. It's just like, if you've got this information, it'd be nice for us to have it, because it'll make it easier for us to help you. If not, write something and we'll work from there.
Yes, that's exactly what I have in mind. Yes.
Yeah, it could be just a few lines at the top explaining what the aim is, and that's it. I mean,
yep. And they would be different, but they would be different between bug report and feature request. So I would still have those two, but they would be short and sweet and to the point, and not really get in the way.
And in that case, we don't really need freeform, because either of the two could just wipe the comments and have your freeform issue, right?
I would keep freeform.
So you would keep freeform, which has
I would label it other.
Maybe empty or something like that. Empty format or empty. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not freeform, but
yeah,
it's not a form actually.
Yeah, I guess it was a bad joke on the free format.
Okay, and at this time, do we want to keep the link to Discord for discussions?
I think so.
In that case, we would have 4 options. So basically, this would go away. This would go away. So if we stop 3 in this, there will be forms. There would be the top 2 would be templates.
Yep.
One thing to consider is to even get rid of this menu completely, and just when you click on a new issue, it will literally open the new issue with this kind of a template or guidelines how to report it, as well as the guidelines can say go to this course if you have a discussion, or do this if you have a feature request. And
I think that might clutter up the template a little bit, and then gets in the way more than it needs to.
And I think GitHub also does not allow this. So you can't have only one template, and you won't be able to get directly in the template. We will get in this select, and there will only be one option. So I think this is technically even not possible.
In that case, yeah. So then we can have a few options. That's fine.
Any other comments for this topic? I believe that Milan will have to leave us soon, so
off to another meeting. Jeremy made you host. I think this was very, very helpful. Thanks all.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, so then I propose that we move to the next topic if there's no more comments, which is yeah, we can go to Arjan. You propose to discuss about your GUI and the Windows compiler.
Yeah, I saw the announcement by Lawrence. I think it would be nice if we could use the same installer or at least the same method for anything that comes from this project. And the one thing I was thinking about was this GUI, because that needs an installer, which is better than the one I came up with after some search. I heard from people that that you could use this package or that package, and when I looked, it was more complicated than I thought it was, or it didn't work quite the way I would have liked it. So I was glad to see that Lawrence has come up with something. I haven't looked at it yet, but I thought this might be a nice vehicle for anything we want to do. We want to be able to distribute.
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't look what Lawrence did. Any comment on that?
I'm excited about the installer. I would be hesitant to start just adding things that aren't necessary. I think what he's got is a good start, and I would be hesitant to just immediately start adding things to it, because I don't want it to I wouldn't want it to start to get complicated early on.
No, I wasn't thinking about that especially, not to have one big lump of installer which you will put in everything you want, but rather use the same methods.
Oh, okay. So you want to
and have that
fork it and make a new installer for your thing.
Yes, and have
based
it
on what he's done so
available
far.
for anything, any application or library or package or whatever you want, so that you have sort of a common thing to look at. So
I actually kind of like that idea. I do like that. I do like that idea. Have a Fortran Lang installer template, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
I do like that idea.
We have to be a bit careful here because we have some projects that are interdependent, and with installers, this is a problem because we don't have dependency handling, and we don't want to start our own Fortran Lang Windows distribution.
No,
yeah, if it was simple, it would have been too good to be true.
But the way I would approach this is a short term and long term. Short term is to do what you are already doing with the installer, and long term is to either pick Conda or Spec, one of the two, or both. I don't know. And the installer would install the basic things immediately, but give you working Conda installation, and then you can install the rest using Conda. Or Spec if Spec is just starting on Windows, but if it becomes usable in, let's say, a year, we can use that also.
Yeah, I think the more options for people to install stuff, the better, at least on Windows.
Yeah, well, the problem with Windows is that you're dealing with at least 3 or 4 different different environments to do things. Windows itself, Cygwin, MingW, but also WSL. So it's a whole plethora of things you have to think about.
the good thing is we have for almost all of them, except for native Windows, a package manager which goes with the system.
Yes.
So the main thing we can
Well-
actually do is interact with those people and try to get maybe FPM in the Cygwin package manager, and maybe get FPM. So we already have FPM in the MSys2 package manager, and maybe we can get into Chocolatey or make it a NuGet package. Then it should also work this way. It's just a lot of work, and maybe we can at some point finally compile it on CondaForge, even if it's not looking that way right now. But maybe at some point we are able to do so. And then then we should maybe look into having an automated way if we release our packages that it builds a Windows install, and it's not overhead for one person to package this. And I think the more ways we provide to install FPM and standard lib, the easier it gets for people to actually use it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah, I would concentrate. I would concentrate on all the plain Windows environments.
I was gonna say I agree with Sebastian. Go ahead. Oh, I was gonna say that I agree with Sebastian on this. Maybe we can just concentrate on FPM and that's it, and then figure out how to make FPM work with Conda and or Spec or both to install whatever else we need. And the pressing issue, I think, is for GUI applications, is to figure out how do we distribute Fortran-based or non-Fortran-based GUI applications. If we can figure out how to do that, either through Spec or Conda, but somehow with FPM, I don't know the details, but I think eventually we have to do that anyway. We have to cooperate with the Conda and Spec to install non-Fortran dependencies. We know we have to do it, so if we kind of get on it and just figure out the solution there, I think we can just use that on the Windows also and just kind of fold everything into packages, whether FPM package or whether Conda package, and just, you know, the end user experience that I'm imagining has to be that you just install FPM and everything kind of just works. And then all we have to do is fold all the GUI stuff in that system also.
Okay, great. Well, that's it for me. Yeah, I think there's some things to look into.
Good. Nice. Yeah, then there is one last topic, which is about reviewing the pull request on the SCDB lib. There are quite a few of them there. But they are, it's good because there is a lot of opposition and open peer pull request. The problem is that there are not enough reviewers, I believe. Yeah, I'm not sure how to attract and not attract the reviewers and how to get them in board. The problem is that, yeah, there are a few peer pull requests. They are quite large to review, so it's quite a lot to do, a lot of work. But yeah, I don't know how to approach that efficiently, actually.
So a handful of you are at universities, if I'm not mistaken. How difficult would it be to encourage students to come and review some of the pull requests?
First, they should be interested by Fortran, which is the biggest problem.
Yeah, I mean, there's that, but if you have any students that are interested in Fortran, that would be a good way of helping them get involved.
Yeah, that's true. I don't have, that's my problem.
I could ask a few of my colleagues and fellow students. Maybe they are interested in reviewing. Some of them are programming in Fortran. Not sure if they feel comfortable reviewing on GitHub.
In which sense not comfortable? because of the interface of GitHub, or?
Well, open source training is not really part of chemist education.
Yeah, it's the same in my field. Yeah. Yeah, but we can always ask and see. Yeah, what are the answer? We can try, at least. Yeah, that was just my comment. It's just because they are, yeah, there are some of them, they are still there since a long time. So it would be, yeah, it's also for the people who propose some code, it's also, I think, a bit shame that they peer are not reviewed and as quick enough. And,
Maybe we can open a quota. Everybody who proposes a pull request has to review at least 2.
If you want your pull request to get merged, you have to go and review 2 other people's. It's certainly an idea.
That's actually a really good idea. I wasn't super good this summer, but for Google Summer of Code students, that's exactly how the best way to get involved in the community is to not make it like a hard requirement, but more like an encouragement. Is that people are reviewing your pull request, but why don't you go ahead and review 2 other pull requests to kind of give back? And I think it works great.
Yeah, I agree.
For me, sorry.
No, go ahead, Arjan.
Yeah. Well, for me, the problem is always that I do want to review these pull requests and perhaps also the tickets, but I forget about them. So I need to have the discipline to inspect the list of pull requests and pick one out for reviewing. That's for me the main thing. This is a very busy time of year, and it just slips my mind.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, the same for me. And yes, Martin.
Yeah, I think I just skipped through. So most of the things are actually enhancements. So I mean, 190 issues sounds a little bit bad, but as far as I see, there's not really something serious like people saying, okay, this function gives wrong output, or this, I don't know, it's not compiling is one of the things. So in the end, it's really more like getting people to work on the project and do work that is nice to have, but not really required, right? It's not like we have a lot of really bad bugs.
No, it's not really related to bugs, but it's more related to the pull request. For example, for there are some pull requests random about random distribution and normal distribution and so on.
Oh, sorry.
There's also one on hash table, hash functions, and those ones are really big. So when you open it, you want to start, you already know that you need multiple hours to do it properly. Could be also a problem, but
So can we make pull request templates the same way that we can do issue templates? I think we can, can't we?
Yes, we can. They don't work that well. In practice, I haven't seen a good working pull request template. The only thing we could do is make a pull request template for labeling things to allow people to choose from a template and automatically select the labels. But I think we are faster labeling by hand. This would be the only advantage I would see in a pull request template, to just categorize it when you are submitting it.
Well, my suggestion was to add the hint in the pull request template of thank you for submitting this. Can you please go review some others?
This was something we could do, yes.
Right, just somewhere when somebody's submitting a pull request that prompts them, hey, thank you, but please, we need help doing this part too.
Yeah, I think this is possible without causing too much problems.
Yeah, could be a nice idea indeed. Just one sentence when you open a template or when you open the pull request. Yeah. Good. Other comment? Or Martin, maybe?
No, I just forgot to put the hands down.
Oh, no problem. Good.
How about publishing the statistics of so many new pull requests, so many reviewed and accepted, that sort of things? So to make people aware that they are around and that we are working on that, and that people are welcome to join us.
Some sort of recognition for people who are
Yeah.
reviewing and accepting pull requests. That would help, I think.
We could add this in the monthly
In a newsletter. Yes. Yes.
I think the statistics should be accessible. We could have like a number of new open pull requests, number of pull requests merged and pull requests reviewed by a certain number of reviewers.
Are there not already such statistics on the Fortran Long website?
They are about general contributions. They are not about specific events. So they are all events together, whether you commented, opened a new issue, opened a pull request, or committed something.
Yeah, the idea is that we specifically want additional contributions for this specific area. So if we can highlight that and give recognition and thanks, then that will help encourage more people to do that task.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, that's a possibility also. Yeah. Good. Any other comments on that? Yeah, if not, any other business? No? Final? No? Good. Then I think that we can close the meeting and we'll see each other in 1 month again. Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Talk later.
Bye.